So we all know what this is. It's everybody's favorite Hot Wheels Nissan Skyline ER34 Liberty Walk Super Silhouette. I mean, this has been the buzz across all of the diecast world for the last couple of years. With Hot Wheels, with every other brand, everybody is popping out this casting right here in a multitude of colors. I mean, we've seen it a number of times in Hot Wheels. But don't forget about its hotter, younger little sister, the Nissan Silvia S15 Liberty Walk Super Silhouette. This casting debuted in 2022, so it's only a couple of years old, and ever since it's hit the pegs, I mean, folks have slowly grown to really like it. I feel like in the first year of this casting, it really wasn't that popular. It sat on the pegs a lot, which is why you guys can see your boy DieCash Cars was able to pick up so many of them, because they just lined the pegs. Nobody gave a crap about it. And honestly, I always thought it was a really cool casting, and I always had this premonition that it was gonna be a really sought after cast moving forward. Going in to 2023, just the following year, it was released as a Target Red Edition. It also came in recolors of gold and black with this awesome Liberty Walk pinstriping. And that's when everybody started to take note of how cool this casting was, how awesome this car was. And that's when all the collectors started to backtrack and try to pick up all the versions, all the releases of this casting. I mean, this casting rose so quickly in popularity that Hot Wheels had no choice but to re-release it in full premium in exclusive Walmart Boulevard lineup. And here it is. Finally got my hands on this piece, and I wanted to do a little bit of review for you guys. I mean, obviously it's Hot Wheels, so they don't have every single accurate license for this particular casting. They don't even have the correct wheels. I mean, you can see they're using the 6-spoke T37 reps, whereas the real car actually has my favorite wheel of all time, the Advan Beyond GT's 5-spoke wheels. But again, for a $6 retail car, I mean, it looks pretty good. I mean, at least they got the color scheme down. Full metal body, metal base. I mean, giant Liberty Walk logos everywhere. It's got the number 23. Acrylic headlights, another reason why I really like this casting. They really thought it all the way through. Even acrylic taillights, which is pretty cool. The spoiler is in plastic, and it doesn't feel like it's just gonna pop off. I mean, this is a very well done budget diecast model of a very significant car in the automotive industry today. And here it is next to a loose version of the mainline counterpart. I mean, you can see the premium version definitely has a lot more details. The Thunderbolt is a little bit lighter of a shade of yellow, which I feel like might be not as accurate to the real car. I feel like the dark mustardy yellow is probably more accurate from the mainline version, but nonetheless, you can see that Hot Wheels kind of spruced up this premium casting, gave us a lot more details in order for us to have a true differentiation between the two. Secondary market right now on the premium Boulevard S15 Super Silhouette sitting at about $13 to $15. The mainline counterpart from 2022 right now in that $3 to $5 price range, but I'm sure you can find it for a lot cheaper out there if you're still circling back to get all of the Liberty Walk S15 castings. But there is another version of this Nissan Silvia S15 Super Silhouette that we need to compare to these Hot Wheel versions, and that is none other than the MiniGT. This here is specifically the Miho exclusive Goodwood Festival of Speed version that I actually got from SC Diecast. Shout out SC Diecast. But MiniGT has to be in this comparison for the one and only reason that they are the official sponsor from a diecast standpoint of this actual Liberty Walk S15 in real life. I mean, you can actually see the MiniGT logo there right on the front fender. You can see it a lot better here on the front bumper of the Ignition model that I have there in the back. But being the official sponsor of this car in real life, you gotta imagine this 164 has to hit on all cylinders. And just quickly taking a look at this piece, I mean, nothing but details across the board. You got acrylic headlights and taillights with actual coloration. Got every single vendor on every single angle of this car. I mean, it's got the actual Advan Beyond GT wheels, and you can see there's a lot of concavity to those wheels too, which is accurate for the real car, because you can see the body arches and the fenders are so wide. I mean, I can't even imagine what kind of offset and wheel width they're putting on this car. And I think the most interesting comparison between the premium version from Hot Wheels and this Mini GT version is that they are actually both around the same price. I mean, secondary market for the Boulevard S15 is right around that $13 to $15 price point, and that's exactly what this Mini GT version is going for too. So there's no doubt that the Mini GT is way more detailed, is more accurate versus the Hot Wheels version. But again, we are like moths to a flame when it comes to Hot Wheels. We'll buy anything and justify it just based on brand recognition alone. But again, if you are a fan of this casting, I think the Mini GT is a very well done release that you must have to go along with the Hot Wheel versions. And if you find yourself being an even bigger fan of this Liberty Walk Nissan Silvia S15, I would implore you to look at Ignition Model and all of the 1/18 scale releases of this car that they've put out there. This one in particular that I have is the special edition that comes with the Tetsuya Habino figure. It was a very limited production release that was an online exclusive for Ignition Model. It did retail at $400. Secondary market right now it's sitting at about $450 to $500, but there hasn't been one sold on the secondary market, at least in the last 30 days. But again, if you're a fan, 1/18 scale is the best way to really take in all the details, short of seeing the car in real life. I mean, you can see here as I just do a quick overview of this 1/18 scale of the Liberty Walk S15. I mean, all the details that you could imagine. I mean, the depth of the headlights, the tail lights, the vents in the hood. I mean, all of the licensing of the car. It's even got Mini GT on there. I mean, I feel like that's the biggest taboo in the world, is to have your own diecast company, but then also license and put stickers of other brands of makes and models on your castings. But no attention to detail spared when it comes to Ignition Model. But I mean, we talked about the concavity of the wheels. These are very specific Advan Beyond GT wheels that they put on this Ignition Model as well too. I mean, you can see the depth of that wheel. It's so realistic. The only issue that I have with this Ignition Model is that it was the Goodwood Festival of Speed version. They got everything right as far as the graphics goes. The one thing that they missed is that they did not put the radiator sticking out of the rear windshield, which is really interesting because they did put the vent holes in the trunk. They just forgot to put the radiator in the back, and I'm guessing that was because they did not have the tooling or the casting work done in order to accommodate this to match the real car. But I guess we'll forgive them because, again, the model is still very beautiful. And in case you're wondering, the reason why the radiator is in the rear, well, it's because this is primarily a drift car, and drift cars have, as of late, moved the radiator to the rear end of the car because it helps with weight distribution. On top of that, because the car is, for the most part, always going in a sideways motion, radiators in the front end of the car just aren't efficient enough. So they need to put the radiators in the rear end of the car and use different types of venting to circulate air to cool down the entire car, which again is such a functional fact. And I love race car details like this, but had to share that with you guys. And another really fun fact when it comes to this Liberty Walk Nissan Silvia S15 is the pure and simple fact that the motor inside of this car just leaves everybody speechless. You would think, it being a Nissan, that they would put a traditional SR20 in it, or maybe even upgrade into an RB26 from a Nissan Skyline. Nope, they skipped every single one of those motors. What they have inside of this car is actually a 4-rotor. I mean, it's crazy. If you go and watch some YouTube clips of this car in real life, I mean, you can tell right away the second this car starts up and starts driving, it is without a doubt a Mazda rotary engine. But I just think that is so clever and it's just so unique. I mean, I don't think there's any other car company out there that's as visible as Liberty Walk and does as many wild builds as Liberty Walk. I mean, it's just unreal, guys, which is a big reason why I'm a big fan of Liberty Walk, as is everyone else in the collecting and automotive enthusiast world. So to summarize, the Liberty Walk Nissan Silvia S15, it's a super cool car. I hope you got your fill on the first editions in the actual colorway of the car in real life. Definitely look out for the Walmart Boulevard version in full premium. If you're an even bigger fan of this car like me, pick up the MiniGT versions. There's actually like 5 or 6 different versions. I can't even keep track anymore for MiniGT. And then last but not least, the Ignition model. I mean, take in all that detail. This, guys, is one of the cars of the JDM automotive world today. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time on DieCash Cars.